Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the poem Things of Beauty by John Keats. Now, who was John Keats? John Keats, he was born in London, but he was one of the romantic poets, and his poetry also consists of many series of odes. Odes are what? Odes are the lyrical poems which are meant for a particular subject, for someone. The subject is a particular person. Today his poems are one of the most sought after creations in English literature. Now this above given poetry, Things of Beauty, is really a poetic romance, which is also considered to be an epic poem. Now what is the background of the poem? It is based on the Greek mythology. Now से ग्रीक माइथोलॉजी है कि जो आप लोग विश्वास करते हो, जैसे आपके हिंदू में इंडियन माइथोलॉजी है कि आप लोगों के इतने गॉड्स एंड गॉडेसेस है, आप रामायण की स्टोरी जो बताते हैं, और यू टॉक अबाउट योर महाभारत, दिस ऑल आर माइथोलॉजिकल स्टोरीज. So same way, even this is a Greek mythology that one shepherd called Endymion, his quest for his love, Dinah. He had fallen in love with Dinah, and how he falls in love with an earthly maiden and who turns out to be Dinah herself. He loved the goddess Dinah, but then later on she comes as in earthly form, and then that is how they meet. Now first we'll start with a summary of the poem. A Thing of Beauty is a poem taken from the poem Untitled Endymion, which is a poetic romance which was even written by John Keats. And this Things of Beauty is a little part of it, where he says that when there are beautiful things around us, जब अपने आस पास सुंदर चीज़ें होती है तो it gives us endless joy, अपने को बहुत happiness देता है. It has eternal beauty जो कभी भी मिटती नहीं है. He's saying beautiful things are just like the shady shelter जो हमको trees में से मिलता है, the sleep which is full of very sweet dreams, good health, relaxation, these all things. He lists many numerous things in this poem like the sun, the energy, the moon's beauty, the tree shade, the daffodils, the sheep. Everyone he shows that how God has made us these beautiful things and how they inspire us and they bring joy in our life. Let's start the poem with the explanation. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it will never pass into nothingness, but will keep her bower quiet for us and asleep, full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. The poet here says that the beauty stays forever. It never fades away. पोएट ये कहना चाहता है कि कभी भी ब्यूटी कभी भी फेड नहीं होती है. इट ऑलवेज रिमेन्स. जैसे भी टाइम पास होता है फिर भी ब्यूटी वैसी की वैसी रहती है और ज़्यादा ब्यूटीफुल हो जाती है. और वो ये भी हमें बताता है कि ये सब अपने को बहुत जॉय देती है. ब्यूटी एक शेडी ट्री की तरह है जो गर्मियों में हमें शेड देता है, जिसके नीचे क्रीचर्स आके सोते हैं और स्वीट ड्रीम्स में देखते हैं. सो इट सीज मेनी स्वीट ड्रीम्स. दैट इज़ वॉट द पोएट इज ट्राइंग टू टेल अस इन दिस पैरा. Therefore on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and o'erdarkened ways, made for us searching, yes, and in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves from the power, from our dark spirits. The poet here is telling us that every day it is the beauty which fills us with the spirit to live. ब्यूटी जो होती है वही हमको स्पिरिट देती है कि हम लोग जिए. इट बिल्ड्स द डिज़ायर. अपने अंदर एक महत्वाकांक्षा, अपने अंदर इच्छाएं उत्पन्न करता है. इन अस टू लिव दो दे आर सैड मोमेंट्स एंड बहुत लोग क्रूअल है अपने अराउंड अस, बहुत बार अपने सैडनेस में होते हैं, बट येट दीज ब्यूटिफुल थिंग्स सब कुछ भुला के अपने को ब्यूटीफुल मोमेंट्स देता है. और yes, God has created why these beautiful things so that our sadness can be removed away from our hearts. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady bourne, for simple sheep and such are daffodils, with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season, the mid-forest break. See here what the poet is describing, कि जो चीज़ें अपने अर्थ पे प्रेजेंट है, like the sun, the moon, the trees, the flowers, the daffodils, the rivers, they all are a blessing to us. वो हमारे लिए एक ब्लेसिंग की तरह है, भगवान की तरफ से एक आशीर्वाद है. He describes that जो ट्रीज है हमें शेड देती है, फ्लावर्स ब्यूटीफुल है, रिवर्स और जो है ना झरने जो होते हैं, फाउंटेन, स्प्रिंग्स, वो सब हमको कूलनेस देते हैं हॉट समर की तरह. ये सारे ब्यूटी ऑफ नेचर हमारे लिए एक बून है, वरदान है. दे आर जस्ट लाइक अ बून फॉर अस. Rich with the sprinkling of fair musk grows from, and such too is the grandeur of the domes. We have imagined for the mighty dead all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring into us from the heavens brink. पोएट अपन को पहले और बताता है कि ब्यूटीफुल थिंग्स प्रेजेंट है इस अर्थ पे, जैसे मस्क रोजेस जो अपने को बहुत अच्छी फ्रेगनेंस देती है, बहुत अच्छी सुगंध देती है. वो ये भी डिस्क्राइब करता है कि माइटी वॉरियर्स जो हमारे हैं, हो जिन्होंने अपनी कंट्री के लिए अपनी लाइफ दे दी, ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए अपनी लाइफ दे दी, वो सब ब्यूटीफुल थिंग्स, वो सारे गिफ्ट्स थे गॉड्स की तरफ से. और वो किसकी तरह है? नेक्टर, जो फ्लावर में नेक्टर होता है ना, जो ये बटरफ्लाइज एंड ऑल दे सक, वो नेक्टर की तरह, शहद की तरह इट इज़ गिवन बाय गॉड टू अस. एंड दीज ब्यूटीज़, ये ब्यूटीज़ इमॉर्टल है, हमेशा अमर है. मॉर्टल तो जो डाई हो जाता है, ख़त्म हो जाता है, पर ये इमॉर्टल है जो भगवान ने हमको दिया है. गॉड हैज़ गिवन अस विच आर लिविंग ऑन दिस अर्थ. डिस्पाइट ऑफ सो मैनी सैडनेस, सो मैनी क्रुएलिटीज़, फिर भी गॉड हैज़ गिवन अस सच ब्यूटिफुल थिंग्स. Now, which are the literary devices used in this poem? Rhyme scheme, if you go to see, is AAPPC of your verses. Then one of the literary device used is alliteration, where you use of consonant sound at the start of two words which are close in series, like sleep, swire. Then the metaphor, your comparison has been done to bower. The calmness of the bower is compared to the calming effect of a beautiful thing. Then there is the enopera. Enopera is the same word which is used in two consecutive lines of noble natures, of all the unhealthy. Alliteration, I have already told you, metaphor. Then the imagery. Imagery is when you create a sensory effect of beautiful things lined up in a string, where you are seeing a flowery band to bind us. Flowery band, एक बैंड बना हुआ जैसे, और वो अपने को एक साथ बाइंड करता है. इन्वर्जन, जहाँ आप नॉर्मल ऑर्डर ऑफ वर्ड्स जो यूज़ करते हैं, दैट इज़ कॉल्ड इन्वर्जन, लाइक रीडिंग अ फ्लावरिंग बैंड. Alliteration is already told. Imagery, I have already told you. Here I have written where imagery is used. Then the antithesis, that is the opposite words when they are placed together, like old, young. Alliteration, metaphor, rhyme scheme, I have already told you. Imagery also, the different imageries like musk roses, books describing the valor of fighters, then the God providing us with the best things. Then we come to the list of the beauty mentioned in the poem. The beautiful things which are mentioned in the poem are sun, the moon, the shady trees, the beautiful daffodil flowers, the streams of water, the dense green bushes of forest ferns where fragrant musk roses grow than the tales of heroic men who have sacrificed their life. Then come the list of things that cause suffering and pain. That is the desire to offend others, hopelessness, then the lack of noble men, bad health, unhappiness, gloom, darkness. So you see how John Keats has described this beautiful poem where he tells us the importance of the beautiful things which gives us joy, which is immortal, which will never die and will always keep on giving us happiness. So be beautiful and spread happiness with everyone.